Connor, you didn't go to the game tonight? You go to the game tonight? Not your thing. It was never Christian's thing either. Too many people, too much going on. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Pam's about 10 minutes late. I don't know where Dan is. Dan's usually. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna do right here. What am I gonna do? Um, let's get down to that. When I call this, we're going out there. If I do German, we're going to stay here. Who's behind? Was that Dave I saw? Okay. 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 What's a tape recorder? Yeah. Okay. So I don't have a quorum yet. He has to come back in order to make it a quorum. I don't have one. I know Jason's out. I don't know where Dan is. And Pam's having a
Can I ask why we're not starting? Excuse me?
The chair is the one who starts.
Excuse me?
The chair is the person who starts
Sorry,
the
we
meeting.
can't hear you. You can speak loud
Well,
enough.
you're supposed to start at 6
I
o'clock.
know, I am speaking louder, so you can hear me.
How many school board members are here? Raise your hand, please. 1, 2. Pam Hart, are you a member?
Dan another minute, see if he can, see if he's showing up.
Karen, are we going to start? I have an appointment to make.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I can start. I've got a quorum. All right.
This is what we paid for in the school board, right? Punctual.
I can't control what's going on in tech. I cannot control what's going on back.
Start on time.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 1st meeting of the Auburn School Committee. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands,
one nation,
under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before you all sit back down again, I would ask that we take a moment of silence for the lives that were lost last week, for those who were injured, for those families and loved ones. Let's take a moment of silence, please. Thank you all. Start with introductions down here to my right.
Ryan Belknap, Ward 4.
Clarissa Perez Armendariz, Ward 1.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Karen Matthew, Ward 3.
Connie Brown, Superintendent.
Eric Gaudier at large.
Connor Dufour, Student Representative.
Mark Conrad, Business Manager.
Sue Doris, Assistant Superintendent.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
Ian Poisson, Ward 5.
Jason Levesque could not be with us this evening, and Pam Albert will be here. She'll just be arriving a little bit late. All right, let's begin with the approval of tonight's agenda, which includes the minutes from October 18th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Brian, you second. Questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, I'll open it up to public participation. If we have anyone from the public who would like to come and address the school committee, please come to the podium.
How you doing? First of all, your agenda, take a good look at it. It's going to fall under the First Amendment. I suggest reading it. Pay attention to what you do. Suppressing voices here seem to be the most pertinent thing you can do to the parents from COVID. Oh, probably about 2 years now. What you folks did was wrong. And Karen, I know you're, see, here we go again. Here we go. Yeah, only mine, right? I'm a lot smarter than you think, okay? And there's enough people in this room that can hear.
But I want audio to hear you.
Since when do you want audio? Because in some of the videos that I've gone on where I spoke, my voice has been garbled, okay? So they need to know
that
that
you need to push.
screen button. It's on. It was on when I started here. I never touched it.
Dr. Brown just.
Who runs the video here? Raise your hand.
He's out back,
Okay.
which is why I was a minute
Okay.
late starting the meeting, because we were having a little bit of technical
Okay, no problem.
difficulty. So
I respect
just
that.
Please pause for just a
What
moment.
I don't respect is what you did to me. And you know what I'm talking about, Karen, okay? And now the four of you that were involved in this, from the principal to Cornelia, I see you're leaving, Cornelia. 2 years wasn't good enough for you. You couldn't retire early enough. I don't have much to say about you when you call parents bullies,
So
okay?
What can we help you with this evening? What would you
I'm here
like
to let the public know how you treated the parents, and now the four of you that were involved in this and had me served with a no trespass for no reason to try and shut me up, I'm not going to let up. I got my foot on the gas pedal, and I told you I've had 3 years to do this. I have a right to sue you for what you did to me. School boards up north were sued for doing less than what you folks did to me. This is from the lawyers, the nice people that have kids and grandkids. I sent them everything from this school board meetings from day one, from the day you rolled your eyes at me and changed my time from 6 all the way to 8:30, from day one. The second time, you turned off the video. That's a violation of my constitutional right. I counted each and every one of you. And I got something to say here. Where's all 8 school board members, and do they get paid for not being here? Seriously, I'm looking around. Every time I come here, there's less and less of school board members. This man and this man seem to be the only ones that really show up. She wasn't here the last 2 times I was here.
So
Did
do
you
have
get paid?
Do you have a question for the school board that we
Yeah, I
can
do. I'm
answer
calling
now?
you all out. I'm exposing what's going on here. And now all 4 of you that I called you out, that suppressed my voice and perp walked me out with a cop because you didn't want to hear what I had to say. I was never rude. I was never derogatory according to your policy, but you didn't want to hear the truth. When I brought you 163 peer-reviewed scientific studies on COVID, you refused to accept them. Guess what? Now there's 177. I gave you the most prestigious report and you didn't even look at it. The Cochrane Review. You never looked at it. And to this day it says masks don't work. How about that? Okay, so when you're coughing, you're still coughing on us. Okay? You perp walked me out of here how many times? And then you suppressed my voice 3 times by the mayor, who called me an effing prick outside of this building. I have every right to call you out the way you treated me. You're an elected official. All 4 of you are now running. It's funny how all 4 of you are disappearing, but you ran the narrative. When you had the vote, Cornelia, the vote wasn't for mask or no mask when you undermined the parents. What you did is you didn't give the parents fair chance for debate on the 2nd. 2 weeks later, after the vote was 6-2, you had Dr. Elias come in here with one of his employees. 2 of the school board members live right on the same street as Dr. Elias. Let's put 2 and 2 together. I used to be Dr. Elias's next door neighbor. Okay? I'm exposing what you did to me, and I don't appreciate it. And these folks said I have a right to sue every one of you, all 8 of you, because in the 2nd visit, and we documented everything from day 1, I counted all 8 that were here. The first time, you tried to dismiss them all because you critiqued what I had to say and didn't like it because you rolled your eyes at me, and then you tried to dismiss. Brian, Mr. Belknap, didn't she try to dismiss all of you guys on the 2nd visit? I said, no, you keep them all here. You tried to suppress my voice, and I'm calling you out on it. And now you're running away? I might just sue all 4 of you. How about that? You know why I brought my son here every time? To show him what's right and what you do when you're right. You ran the narrative. This guy, you, Cornelia, you all brought your politics in here. And I want to tell everybody in this room, you pay attention to what happened to COVID, and you notice that superintendents all over this country, some of them weren't even elected, they were selected. You were the first one selected in this town and allowed to live outside of this town and paid more money than any other superintendent. And now you're bowing out after 2 years. How come? I know why. Because you push the woke agenda. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is nothing but racism. Let me tell you what, I got my say here today. I'm going to go home and make a decision tonight on whether I sue the pants off of you for what you did. You know it, and you know it. And there's people here that at least had some integrity and were whispering in my ear on what was going on. Y'all got it raised during COVID, and I called you out on it, and you didn't do nothing. You wouldn't answer me. Crickets. Crickets with no legs. That's the sound I got from you every time I asked a question. And then when I finally got to start asking you questions, what did you do, Cornelia? You lawyered up. Who lawyers up? The only people that lawyer up are people that are guilty of something. Had my say. I appreciate you letting me say it. I'm going to go home and make a decision on whether I want to sue you or not. You can't leave soon enough. Neither can you. Thank you for your time. Check that out. You're still violating First Amendment rights, and not only that, you violated mine, and you're swearing in high school kids. Pathetic.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come address the public, the school committee this evening? Thank you.
You guys had some integrity.
All right, moving on. There are no presentations this evening, no school committee student rep reports, so superintendent report. Dr. Brown?
Thank you very much. I just would like the school committee to know that you may recall as part of the budget process last year, we budgeted $50,000 for contracted service for a substance misuse counselor. And we are entering into an agreement with Day One, and we're finalizing the terms of that contract, and they will be starting services probably within the next month. That would be November. And they will come and present to the school committee in January. I realize that some of you folks may not be here at that time, but they would like to share with you what their model is for supporting students and what they plan to do at Yale. So that's one thing. Day one, right? It is. Yes, thank you. It's okay. The second thing is just an FYI. There will be a joint meeting with the Auburn City Council on November 20, and that will be at 5:30, and that is to go over the audit committee, audit report. So FYI, put that in your calendar. It's the workshop model, and Mr. Conrad and I will be there, and happy to answer questions that you may have about the audit or preliminary questions at this time.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Brown? All right, seeing none. No city council update this evening. Committee reports are in. Any questions about the agendas or the minutes that are there? All right, seeing none. We're going to move into there's no old business this evening, so moving into new business. Can I entertain a motion to approve Mike Davis, Tina Short, Mark Conrad, and Amanda Couture as the authorized representatives for the Sherwood Heights student activity account with TD Bank? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a second? I'll second. Any questions, comments, debate on that one? Yes, Brian?
Is this essentially just a formality? Since Mike is taking over, it's just a formality of switching?
Mark, can you answer?
Yes, we're updating the account signatures, and banks today require the governing body to approve that.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Next is a motion. Can I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $125,000 from the school department's unexpended balances at the end of the 22-23 fiscal year to the Edward Little High School Capital Reserve Fund for the purpose of funding capital improvement projects, facility upgrades, and plant maintenance at the new Edward Little High School and adjacent athletic facilities?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you, Pat. Thank you, Brian. My comment, this motion is here to solidify the conversation we had last year around budget time about moving $125,000 from budget, and this is the motion that allows us to do that.
This is the last step to
This
get
is the
those
last
funds
step.
transferred.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. I wanted to make sure I was correct. Any other questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. I would assume, Mark, before I start the next one, it's the same thing.
Correct.
Same idea. Okay. And next, can I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $125,000 from the school department's unexpended balances at the end of the 22-23 fiscal year to the school technology equipment reserve fund for the purpose of funding purchase and maintenance of computers, tablets, audiovisual equipment, and related technology for the school department? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Clarissa. Questions, comments on that one? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve policy AUB, IJNDB, student computer and internet use for a first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Brian. Questions, comments on that one? Pam?
Sorry, I have a few. On the first sentence, it says network, and I noticed that just as a continuity of language, it should be networks with an S. There's just basic little things here. Hold on, I'm trying to open it on the screen. So where it says Auburn School Department's computers, network, and internet access, I noticed that wherever it says that, elsewhere it has an S on networks.
Thank you, we'll correct
Okay.
that.
And, sorry, I have a few more. The second paragraph, when it talks about that this is about some of the policies, but not all of them, is there another policy that outlines the prohibited uses? And does the principal, does every principal have a list of prohibited uses of the internet?
This policy to all of our student code of conduct policies, so I think that's what you're referencing there. Yes, so the answer is yes.
Also, if you look at A on that policy, acceptable uses, number one, again, there needs to be an S on networks.
We'll add the S to networks. network.
And also on number 3, should tablets, laptops, and other devices be put in place of computers, or is computers just fine? Like, because I know, just to get a continuity of language.
I think we discussed that, and computers is the technological word that encompasses all of them.
Umbrella of all of them.
And I also want to ask a question about the network. Do we have one network in the system?
That's a great question. I think we can ask Mr. Robinson that, and if you're okay with that, we'll, you know, if he thinks it's more than one, we'll add the S. If it's just one, we'll keep it network.
The only reason I said to add the S is because I've seen it elsewhere in the document that has S, so just as a continuity of language, that's all. As well as when it says in number 6, for obeying an additional rules concerning care of devices issued by, that's again compromising that, I mean, encompassing all of them, right?
Concerning computer.
And one more thing on this one. If you go to E, compensation for losses, costs, or damages, it says the student, their parents, guardians are responsible for compensating the school unit for any losses, costs, or damages incurred by the school unit for violations. Shouldn't it be by the student? Because the student is the one incurring the damage.
It's,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So right now, where that says incurred by the school, so we would be picking up the bill for that.
But it says in the beginning that they, the students, their parents, guardians are responsible for compensating the school unit for any losses, costs, or damages
Incurred by the school.
incurred by us.
So whatever it cost us, they're responsible to pay that back.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they're responsible for that. Yep. Yep. Any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, you got one,
Comments? Yes. Brian.
So in a couple of places on a couple of these, we have where it says laptops, iPad, well, it used to say iPads, tablets, and other devices. I'm not sure what the rationale is for crossing out iPads, because they're not really considered a tablet. And I'm wondering if we should just basically remove the actual wording and just say any device, whether it's a tablet, whether it's an iPad this year, laptops next, basically any device that we issue to the students, rather than naming specific ones, because then if it changes, then we either have to change the policy. So I'm almost wondering if we should just replace laptops, iPads, tablets with just basically any device issued directly.
That makes sense to me.
I think as long as you premise it with what devices, define devices, that way.
I mean, you can call it electronic device. I mean, you can call it something. Basically, it's a physical device that we've given a student to work while they're in the classroom at home. And it could be an iPad. You know. I mean, we can even put an example, but I think naming them specifically just opens us up for, if we change the tablets, if we change the iPads, we change the laptops, and they're not covered, then
Or in
this way it's just any
or in
electronic
a
device.
year or two from now, there's something new called something, we don't even know what it's called
Absolutely.
yet, so.
They
all
change
right.
names all the time.
Okay. All right, any other comments? All right, seeing those, and Dr. Dorsey, you have those notes. All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? All right, with those changes, motion passes. Thank you. Next, can I entertain a motion to approve policy AUBGCSA, employee computer and internet use for our first reading? Do I have a motion? Thank you, Clarissa.
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All right, questions, comments on that one? Go ahead, Pam. I'm not even looking at you, but I know you're over there. Go.
So the first paragraph and the second paragraph, again with the networks, there's no S. So whatever you decide, that's fine, but just for continuity of language.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions, comments
Yeah,
on that?
I had a question
Clarissa? Yep.
about the language of permissible use being not limited to. And I think this, I didn't know how, if I worked there, how would I know what else is included?
Where specifically are you referring to? Could it be under the internet rules, another policy? All right, so any further conversation on this policy, AUB GCSA? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes, thank you. Next is a motion to approve policy AUB GCSA-R, employee computer and internet use rules for a first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a second? Thank you, Clarissa. I'll open it up to questions and comments.
So in the first sentence, it says, "These rules implement board policy," but it should probably say school committee. Again, continuity of language.
Yep.
Um,
All right.
Where it says technology coordinator, I've seen it said technology director in the others, so again, that might be something. to
Thank you.
change.
We'll make sure that's consistent.
If you go to D, again, it says the networks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also says boards instead of school committee. Where does that say that? Oh, yeah, where it says accompanying rules and any other board policy, it should probably say school committee.
We'll make sure that's consistent throughout.
And in H, I have one question. Where it says, wait, where am I? Hold on. H, where it says, inform so when in the course of their duties, employees or volunteers become aware of a student violation, they are expected to stop the activity and inform the building principal or administrator. Is the principal not the administrator, or is that someone else?
It could be the principal or the assistant principal.
And you also have to think, sometimes we have the superintendents and the assistant superintendent covering a building as well. So needs to be under that umbrella. All right, any other questions or comments on that one? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote.
I mean,
sorry,
I
Clarissa.
just have that question about, but I'm not, when it says that the forbidden stuff is includes but is not limited to. And I assume that that's just pretty typical legal language, but it's still felt kind of, yeah.
Do you know where you're specifically, can you bring us right to where you are? Yeah. Okay.
E, examples of unacceptable uses that are expressly prohibited include but are not limited to the following.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty exhaustive list,
Mm-hmm.
so it just made me, I find it uncomfortable. But I don't know.
Well, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you used MSMA policy to guide this policy, and so with that many different prohibited uses need to be specifically listed in here, then I'm gonna guess there's a reason there, I'm gonna assume there is a reason they need to be in here, and I'm not seeing anything when the discussion was had.
It's not what's included. That I was just wondering, like, if there's any guidance whatsoever for what kinds of things that are not included might end up being a bad use. Is it the judgment call of the administrator, or is it the judge? I mean, the reality is there's all kinds of things that some people think are completely legitimate that other people don't, and that's the school environment we're living in. So I feel like that would be just something to think about.
It may be difficult to state every possible
Yeah.
item, and so I think we're covering, the obvious ones, but recognizing that something else may pop up that we would have to address.
Pam, did you want to add to that? Basically, same thing. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on that one? All right. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you. All right. Where's my actual agenda? Next, I think we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost there. All right, next we have the motion passed. Next, we have upcoming meetings are listed for November. A couple of dates I do want to get out there that are in December. The last meeting of this current school committee will be on December 6th, will be our last as those of us who are sitting here. Inauguration is on December 18th, I believe. Yes, December 18th. And so the first meeting of the newly elected school committee will be on December 20th, I believe, is the way those dates work out. So just in thinking ahead. All right, any future agenda items or requests for information? Sure.
I'm sorry, I should have included this under my report. The next meeting, which is the 15th, is your budget workshop. And we do this each year in November, and Mark and I go through the anticipated costs, the dates, the budget calendar, what you can expect for areas of increase that we know. We talk a little bit about revenue, and we ask the committee to start thinking about parameters that we could use for the development of the budget. So it's typically a workshop, although I will have some staff nominations that night, so we'll probably set it up as a regular school committee meeting, but just FYI. So it will be your first budget presentation for 24-25.
Yes, yes. All right, thank you. Sure, yeah.
I would like information on, just so that we can state what we've been doing for students who've been affected. I mean, we've all been affected by the mass shootings, but just what the school has been doing as far as for helping our students.
Okay, any others?
I did miss a meeting, so I don't know, but have we had any report on the NUIA scores for last year, this year yet?
We have not. Sue, do you want to spend a minute talking about that?
Those results are tentative right now. We're still waiting on confirmation from the Department of Education that the final results are ready. So we're waiting for that.
And that's in all districts right now. And that's in all districts right now. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, any other requests for information? Deanne?
I just had a question. I think it was a while ago we were going to add like comments or communications in the agenda somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in a notes from quite a while ago, and then I'm not sure where we would exact put it, but
Okay. It used to be in there a long time ago. Okay. Yep. So these are communications from from
yeah,
constituents?
teachers do, well, yeah,
Yep.
whatever, yeah.
Yep. Okay. If there's any actionable communications, you pass those on to Dr. Brown or the appropriate avenues? Right? Okay. All right. Any others? All right, seeing none, I am going to call for a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056B for the purpose of meeting with counsel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a second? Thank you. Clarissa, was that you? All right. I'll call for a motion. All those in favor? All right, we are in executive session. Motion passes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are being asked to clear the room.